Infused body. New mixed media on canvas by A. Bernardo Marigmen III.
This is basically the raw things that you're going to see at the show. Most of them, they will figure out which one will go what. That piece right there has a 24 karat gold hair. It's about $2,000 worth of gold in her hair. All right, let me take you downstairs. You gotta be careful, and some of these things are gonna wet. Smell that fresh oil. Bad for you, though. Garage is full of supplies, and that's all supplies over there. I don't know if you can see that. That's all supply. You look underneath there. Oh, those are all packs of supplies. Supplies here, supplies there. I don't have any food, but I have a lot of supplies. So these are the pieces that I've just been working on. Like that one, it's still wet, very wet. This is Plato's Republic for you who reads Plato. This is called Plato's Republic, the couch. Put it here. You know what that is? Look at this. It's a confrontation between the bird and the bee. This piece right here is snowflake. Wait, you can smell this thing. All you can smell in here is oil thing. Unfortunately, it takes a while to dry, so what we're gonna have to do after this is put them in the room, put up the circulation, the fans and all that, and high heat for about 80 to 90 degrees in there, be boiling, and force dry some of these things, so at least we can show it that evening. An infused body is taken, we do a lot of poetry, we do a lot of poetry reading in the city, Chicago, in different clubs, night bars, and it's late hours of the night and stuff like that. And basically, it's collective words, and trying to visualize it and put it on canvas. And actually, Infused Body is taken from a poetry that a good friend of mine, another film director, filmmaker, Christopher David Carr. He did a poetry actually on one of the exhibitions that I did. Basically, it's a summary of what my painting said. He hit it right on the spot. And again, with the poetry and things like that, I go back with him, I work with it, and in order to tie in with my work, I have to be involved in the arrangement of things, how that ties in together. Our stylist work and everything else that ties it all in. And from reading the poetry, hopefully, and from hearing it on the night, you'll be able to see and tie that in of how I see, where my work is going. This piece and that piece, I've been working on it a little bit. That goes with upstairs since 1988. So we just finished it now. And some of these pieces, a lot of these pieces are 1990, a little bit here and there. I started this painting in 1988. Finally finished it. 1988 to 1999. So a couple of paintings there downstairs. I worked on it a section at a time for every month. Every month for what? 10 years? 1988, 1988, 1998, 11 years. This is called 11 years of memory. There's just pieces that I think are done, and I can work it out in probably about a couple of hours or so, and sometimes 2 days, 3 days, but mostly like in a month or 2 months for most of the projects that's done. And there's just pieces, there's still something missing, I still want to, it's not painting over, but it's still something missing, and at the same time you can't finish it from the things that I know up to that point. So it's yet still to be discovered. A lot of my pieces are kind of, very, recreation of some themes, some stories, a little bit awkward, a little bit of twist to it, something fun. Nothing too serious, but at the same time it has to be visually stimulating. My paintings are a lot with movement. I'm a figure painter, I work directly with models in the pieces that I do. That's first and most important. It has to be visually interesting and challenging for the viewers that that they can hang in their homes, or they can take a look at it and look at it for hours and hours, months and months, years and years, and hopefully, pretty much eternity, as long as it's replaced, and see and discover other things, other parts, other movements in the paintings. But the most important thing, it's got to be very poetic. It has to have some sort of, poetic insight to it without being too deep, without being so abstract that you lose the visual aspect of it, which is, why it's art to begin with. Whenever you mix that with poetry, it's a drag. I've never seen a successful one at that. Because for one, somebody's doing poetry, nobody wants to pay attention to it. They're looking at the paintings. They're talking to their friends and all that stuff, and then the poets get offended, and it's just not an atmosphere. And if they're reading something that's kind of a gloomy poetry that sets the mood down, from the kind of things that we want to do, is bring it up. So I think in this case, the fusion of it, of the audio, of the actual, CD, compact, and the tracks with the poetry, it's pretty much, in your face sound that, you can't neglect because it's part of the whole experience. And, people are talking, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. There's going to be no poet that's going to be offended because no one's paying attention to them, because it's basically a soundtrack for it, without having the actual, Mozart playing in the background, that sort of thing. But I think people will listen. Voila! Done!